a call for better attention and concessions for the people of Owan and Akoko-Edo. Edo State is a multi-ethnic entity where the combined block of Owan and Akoko-Edo people has become co-victims of marginalization across state, federal civil service, in political party hierarchies, in socio-economic infrastructures, in the traditional councils, in religious circles, within the civil society and associational confines. This marginalization has become more overbearing within our own Afemai Edo North zone, which ordinarily stands on the tripod of Akoko-Edo, Esako, and Onwa. Our area is made up of 3 local governments of Onwa East, Onwa West, and Akoko-Edo. But pathetically, Akoko-Edo remains unsplit since the Midwest region of 1963. By geographical contiguity and population and quota, Section 71B and 72 of the 1999 Constitution entitles both Owan and Akoko-Edo constituencies to have 1 House of Reps member each, with a combined voting strength of over 400,000. Presently, our worries is that since 35 years now, Akoko-Edo and Onwa had only produced 1 senator apart. Whereas, if you take that from 35 years, you will be having about 23 years or more to a particular local government, a particular constituency we call Esako Federal Constituency. Since 1999, no governor, no deputy governor, no minister, no ambassador, no party state chairman, no BOT member of any major political party that has emerged from the Onwa and the Akoko-Edo federal constituencies. We have not had a head of service in the last 20 years, even in the Edo state government. So, the nature of marginalization that has befell these 2 federal constituencies cuts across both the federal government, even in the state government in Edo. And so, with the recent nomination of Engineer Abubakar Mommoh from the Esako axis of Edo North, it becomes more worrisome that the Tinubu administration ordinarily is a government of renewed hope, should not be starting on this kind of note with the Onwa and Akoko-Edo people. Engineer Mommoh as an individual has nothing against us, neither do the Onwa and Akoko-Edo people have anything against Engineer Mommoh as a person. But our concern is that that area lacks the political morality to be considered for a ministerial at this point of our coexistence as Afemai people. And so, we are unrepentantly urging the Tinubu administration, by its prerogative and powers granted in the Constitution, to step down the inauguration of Engineer Abubakar Mommoh as Edo State Ministerial Nominee. This is our irrevocable stand. It is not personal, like I've said. It is simply a moral issue. That where you have the immediate past senator from Edo North from the same Esako axis, the incumbent senator from the same Esako axis, the immediate past minister Prince Clem Agba, Minister of State then for budget planning, equally from the same constituency. The current ambassador to Mozambique, Barrister Yama, also from the same constituency. The incumbent deputy governor of our beloved state, Edo, also from the same constituency. And we feel bringing in a minister again from the same constituency simply tells about a slave partner affair relationship. And so we want the federal government to be pathetic with our plight, because beyond this political non-patronage, we equally have no institution, no tertiary institution, both state or federal tertiary institution, none even as a satellite campus. We don't have any in these two federal constituencies. It is not a state constituency. These are two federal constituencies with two different House of Rep members. And they are the closest neighbors in Edo. And yet, for those of us who are determined to school from that area, we have to go all the way to Auchi Polytechnic, or go all the way to Ambusali University, or go all the way to University of Benin, which are miles away. So these are purely moral issues that need to be looked into by the federal government. When we equally look into our infrastructural deficits that we are also faced with in that region, that is the only two federal constituencies, two neighboring federal constituencies that don't have a link road between both of them. If you are to leave my own constituency, the Akoko-Edo, and you are to go to the Ogumah federal constituency, you have to get to Auchi, which is a different federal constituency. You have to get to Auchi first before coming towards our own neighbor, the Ogumah federal constituency. And so, where such level of infrastructural deficits, even the existing infrastructures and the road networks are completely dilapidated. The Ibilo, Igara, Sasaro road is completely dilapidated. Just 2 Saturdays ago, a young man was kidnapped, was killed on that same road. And the lady friend kidnapped along in that same incident. And so we have experienced a lot of casualties, all emanating from this poor consideration that these two federal constituencies have been accorded by both the state government and the federal government. And so, in no particular order, we want to seek, number one, for this area to be considered in subsequent patronage from the federal government, in subsequent developmental plans of the federal government. We need to have an upgraded general hospital in any of these two federal constituencies. There are no upgraded general hospitals in any of the two federal constituencies. These two constituencies are equally naturally blessed with solid minerals. But yet, the way we are being treated, even within the solid mineral sector, is equally very pathetic. So, all this mirage of array of marginalization has come to a point that is no longer bearable by our people. And so, we in the Owan and Akoko-Edo Alliance are taking it upon ourselves to speak out and to cry out to the federal government and the state government, and we are believing that the stepping down of Engineer Abubakar Mommoh as Edo State Ministerial Nominee, and President Tinubu subsequently using his prerogative to consider any of our eminent sons and daughters from Owan and Akoko-Edo as a replacement for the Edo State Ministerial Nominee. our incumbent member from the Akoko-Edo Federal Constituency, Right Honorable Peter Patterson, did much in the 9th Assembly to bring in a school of geological and mining studies. That bill got to the presidency, Buhari, for assent, and it eventually didn't get the assent of Mr. President Buhari. So at their own level, they are doing their bit to see how at least let the constituency be uplifted. So we, on our part, equally have our own responsibility as electorate to equally cry out in our own way and manner. They may have their own legislative ways of approaching the issues, which I just mentioned an example. So if that bill for School of Mining and Geological Studies had scaled through last year, I will not be here reading it to you that these two neighboring federal constituencies don't have a tertiary institution. And talking about why we didn't come up to challenge Engineer Mommoh's nomination even before screening, we all know that the way and manner President Tinubu sent this ministerial nomination was even without state attachment. So anybody could be Abubakar Mommoh from Kano, anybody could be Abubakar Mommoh from Jigawa. And so it is not until the screening took place and questions were being asked him and he introduced himself as an Edo person that it beckoned on us that this should not be. So it is neither a belated reaction, rather it is at the point to which he was identified that we are taking up this matter.
The facts are there, like he has pointed out, the areas where we have been marginalized. Coming down to the party level, today as we speak, the South-South chairman of APC, the South-South the vice chairman of APC is from the same Esakon. The present South-South chairman of PDP is from Esakon. The present national youth leader of Labour Party from Esakon. And if we can recall, I think in 2016, Senator Ogumah Omeiza was the only senator in the whole of South-South that stood for APC. And if we also recall, in the same Edo North, Taye Akerele, who was in the house of who was the chief of staff to the present governor, then has to what? Support the leadership of APC by relinquishing his position. A sound mind for that matter. And today, then look at even the present election that just happened, general election. The Director General of the APC campaign for the presidency and the Senate himself was from Owan, the president of Abubakar, Alhaji Abubakar, aka Abu Millionaire. These people work tirelessly for the party, but at the end of the day, it's just like monkey they walk, babu they chop. And as we speak, these two federal constituencies are giving their best and have given their best to the party to see how the party can even be stabilized in Edo North, which is where I come from. But yet, none of them has gotten any federal patronage. So I think if you ask me, our stand is that President Ahmed Bola Tinubu, who by the grace of God become the president of who is the president of this country today, if he recall what happened, that the Northerner has to say there must be equity and justice, fairness. That was how he emerged So we are saying that should also repeat itself in that same Edo North, Central District, where we come from. It's an appeal, and we know he has a listening ear. He's the father, and at the same time we are crying to the traditional ruler that our own constituency has been over marginalized, and that has to what? Stop.